Well, hey everyone, it's Markus and welcome to more Zooming in the Jungle Room. Today I am with Steffen Kummerer. Of course, he is from the mega band Obscura. Steffen, how are you today?
Hey, nice to meet you. I'm doing
Nice to meet
fine.
you, my friend.
I'm in
Um,
the middle of Berlin right now. We are shooting at ESP and we met Eliran Kanto, our artwork artist, yesterday. So vibes are good, spirits are high, and things are going to the right direction.
and it's only a week away now till Christmas. Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Best response ever. Hey, how are you, before we get on to the music, how are you spending Christmas this year?
As per tradition, I spend it with my family.
Yep.
So it will be a feast, probably a couple of days long, and there's nothing but food, good talks, and laughter the
I
entire day. So it's we're not religious; we are more bound to the tradition. So it's more about fun. It's about the good company and good food.
Yeah, sounds great with me. Hey, obviously, one of the reasons why we're talking today as well is because on February the 7th, 2025, your brand new album is coming out. There's already been a couple of singles that have come out from it, Silver Linings being one, Even the Fall being the other. Silver Linings is one of my personal favorites at the moment, but the album is called Sonication. I bet you just can't wait to get it out there now.
It's basically we're just waiting and counting the days. But it's very nice to tease fans since we put a lot of effort into those music videos. So the first Silver Linings has been released, and we're working on the second and the third, Even Fall, and there's another one for In Solitude lurking around the corner. So it's always interesting because you can tease the fans with selected singers and put them into a wrong direction. And I'm very, very curious how people will react on a song like Even Fall because it's a little bit out of our comfort zone.
Obviously, you guys formed in 2002, and one of your first albums came out in 2004, I think it was. Do you find, I mean, that's 20 years essentially. Do you find, the industry moves and changes so quickly these days. Do you find that the music that you were doing in 2002, 2004 even, has changed the way that you put it out to the market, with how you do it now?
That's a very interesting question. Since I had the impression that the value of a music video shifted by far, because these days, everywhere in the entire world, you are able to watch a music video, and sometimes pictures are more important than words. So you reach a lot of people without speaking the same language, but they see and hear you as a band. So we put much more effort into producing those videos because it's somehow, it's like a card you present from your band. It's the first impression. A lot of people will see your band or any other band on the planet. So it's very important that you somehow maintain the sound, the look, a certain vibe you just come over with the band. So what we did probably around 20 years ago was a little bit different because there was no budget involved. It was everything just made the best way we could do and pull it off on our own. And nowadays there are there are more possibilities. It's way easier to produce a music video than 20 years ago because not only the industry but also the gear and all the equipment changed for the better. It's much more affordable even for a small beginner band to put out really high classy looking music videos or recording an album these days. So not all changes are for the worse. I just see more opportunities, to be honest. That's my perspective.
Yeah, I agree. But look, because you guys have been around for a long time, it's easy for you to cut through all the noise because obviously these days, because music is so much more easier to produce, there's so much noise and clutter out there these days. Some of that being great music, some of it being not so great music. I mean, you guys, like I said, because you've been around so long, it's easy for you to get through. What is one thing that you would say to somebody starting up in the industry now? What's the best advice could you give them?
First of all, enjoy what you're doing. There's no way to make it in a genre you don't like, and you just try to attempt or attract people that you just try to make a dime out of it. And second, it's authenticity and originality, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's people really have a sixth sense for music that comes from the heart or that's just a plastic product. So, in my opinion, being original is much has a much bigger value than being perfect.
Mm, I
Also,
hear.
as a player, I mean, think of players like Marty Friedman. His
Yeah.
bands are super original, and you hear his playing. But if you would just edit it to the grid and put all the bends into like perfect pitch, it wouldn't sound the same.
Yeah.
You would cut out the character of the player, and that way there's so much gear and software out there to make your band sounding perfect, but somehow you lose on the way your own soul as a musician. And my advice these days would definitely just try to form your own character. What you can deliver. It's a long way. I mean, everybody starts at some point, but if I think about it, I always prefer players or bands that have their own sound than bands that can play perfectly but don't have their own identity.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Hey, so essentially this album that is coming out in February, Sonication, it was a year in the making, correct?
Yeah, roughly a year in the making. When we assembled the first ideas until we delivered the masters, it was roughly a year. Yeah.
And a lot of that time it was actually produced, written, all of that while you were actually touring. Yeah.
Piece by piece. So we collected indeed a couple of ideas doing sound checks, for example. There are a couple of riffs, but when it comes to like proper laying out scores for the music, you have to do that at home. At least I'm the person I cannot work and focus on one thing while there's a circus around you.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
God.
that's not my thing. But it's a good environment to get inspired and collect ideas, riffs, topics for lyrics or artworks. Simply, there's a phase of collecting ideas, and there's a phase where you simply have to go down into detail, work out everything. And one part happens on tour or with friends, and the other part you simply have to woodshed and hide somewhere in a cave, in my man cave slash studio. Yeah.
Hey, Stefan, I heard through the traps that you took on a bit of a new approach with the creating of this album, which obviously opened you up for a lot more opportunities, inspiration. What were those new approaches that you possibly took on?
One part was definitely looking into the production from a different point of view. With the new album, I tried to maintain a certain wall of sound era. So it's not the production by any means is so much different, but the approach shifted from having everything crystal clear to more having a soundscape. It's more like a cinematic way of thinking. And since you can put all the guitars and all the instruments not only in a stereo panorama but also in the depth, I try to work much more in the depth of field when it comes to mixing. So um, I would say if you listen to the album with big headphones, you don't have every instrument straight in your face. It's more about placing and orchestrating the instruments. So the drums are a little bit in the back, the guitars are left and right, and of course the vocals are straight in your face. And everything that happens around it was orchestrated a little bit different. Like the vocal production got a little bit more, I wouldn't say value, but a little bit more room, and therefore we also changed the songwriting a little bit. So what we did in, I wouldn't say the last 20 years, but what was always a thing for Obscura is guitar-centered music. And I wanted to split this a little bit up. And my ambition was to show or give every instrument of the record a certain spot to shine. So it's more about the storytelling within songwriting and also production, because every production starts with the songwriting. And if you start with the idea of having only a shred record with only 1,000 million guitar notes, it's cool, but that also takes a lot of room from all the other instruments. So the idea here was to let everybody shine. And if you listen to the album front to end, I think you would understand it. the overall signature sound we established over the years didn't change, but it's the devil lays in the detail, as we say.
Definitely. I'm so looking forward to, I mean, like I said, I'm already into the new songs that have been released from the album. So I'm really looking forward to hearing those songs in the context of, the entire album. It's going to be great. Hey, if we can we please go back to when you were younger? And who were you listening to growing up, Stefan, that, really inspired you and led your way into this music career that you've got now?
That's a very good question, since there are also different phases in your life. And I'd say that the first bands I listened to when I was a teenager have been the most extreme I could find at the time. So it was more the idea to find the fastest band on the planet, or the most brutal band, or the most artistically weird band. There were artists like Atrox from Norway that have been more into the avant-garde genre. But of course, there are all the classics like Slayer, Megadeth, Metallica that had their share. When I started to play guitar, I would say there were two schools of rock that had the big share. The US part with bands like Cynic, Atheist, Death, Chuck Schuldiner, and the European, a little bit more melodic death metal like Dissection and Emperor, they had their share as well. So we basically we picked the raisins from all worlds and made our own style out of it. And if I look back, even nowadays, if I listen to the new record, I definitely hear some influences I could point out I listened to when I was like 15 or 16. So it's a closing circle. Somehow, it doesn't matter where you go in your life. Somehow you always get remembered where your roots are.
It all
That's
comes
a,
back
a
around.
circle.
Yep, definitely. I'm with you, Stefan. Hey, you were last in Australia in 2023, only last year. But you sadly only came to Melbourne and Sydney. You didn't come to Adelaide, South Australia, where I am. What I'm hoping for is that when this new album comes out, Sonication, that there's going to be an Australian tour again, or even a world tour, but come to Australia and definitely, absolutely, please come to South Australia. Is this a possibility?
There's definitely a possibility. And so far, we played two tours in Australia. One for the Diluvium album. I think that was 2019,
Yep.
18 or 19. I think 19. With a few more shows. And you mentioned the two concerts we did in 2023, but of course, I would love to play more tours. That's always my ambition to um, not only play more tours, but also to discover different countries and different parts of the countries. If I
Yep.
would go back to Australia, I would love to play not only one or two shows. I would love to play shows in the entire country, like not only the big cities, but also cities where there are not shows every week or even every month, because sometimes those are the best parties. And while you're in Australia, of course, you could join and jump over to New Zealand, make a little hop. That's what we did last time.
Yep.
Great people everywhere. So it's definitely a different vibe. And from us, we are from Europe. We are from the other side of the planet. Um, Even though we've been coming from basically a different culture, we felt so welcome everywhere. It was simply fantastic. Both times we went down under, we had a very, very good time. Cool shows, and also a lot of laughs and good talks with people down there. Of course, we've been tired as hell, as you can imagine.
Have you
The
met one of
travels are
the
brutal.
kangaroos yet? Have you met a kangaroo or a koala?
Yes, of course. We made the entire the
Tick,
touristic
tick,
attraction.
tick. Hey, and like you said, you come from halfway across the world, from the other side of the world. You got to make that jet lag worth it. So you got to do the whole country this time, right?
Of course, we have to. I would love to. And I hope it doesn't take us another 2 or 4 years. I would love to do that very, very soon again. And let's hope. Fingers crossed. I
Fingers
mean, it's
crossed
not
you get an announcement in 2025. Hey,
Just
Steph,
watch out.
yeah, watch out. Just stay on the Facebook, stay on Instagram, keep your eyes peeled, everyone. Hey, Steffen Kummerer from Obscura, what an absolute delight chatting to you. I wish you all the best for Sonication, A Sonication on February the 7th, 2025, when it releases. I'm going to be standing by it, ready to listen to it in its full length version. Have a great Christmas, have a great New Year's Eve, and I'll be sticking my ears out listening for when that announcement comes for the tour.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you. Lovely Christmas, and well, see you in Adelaide or somewhere else down under.
You bet. Thanks,
Bye.
buddy. Take care. Be good. Bye.